So we are going to continue on with section 1.1.3 today. So I'm going to go ahead and put today's date, 9/9, right next to 9/4 because we're doing the same thing today. 9/4, I'm a little skeptical. Was that 9/4? That was 9/5. I didn't see you on 9/4. I think I wrote that down wrong. Last time I saw you guys was Friday, right? Friday was the 5th. Sorry, I screwed that up. We are going to do the exact same thing today that we did on Friday. I know it's been a little while, so let's just quickly review. On Friday, I gave you an equation. It was in your packet. We used that equation to create a table, and then we used that table to create a graph. And then we looked at our special features, which were all listed on our packet. So let's go ahead and look at this. And if you weren't here on Friday, you're definitely going to want to get into a group of people who were here on Friday so that they can help you through the whole process. So I'm just going to quickly remind you what we did. This is the problem that we did together on Friday. We skipped a little warm-up because we did something similar in our warm-up on the board here. We started with this equation, and we used this equation. We started plugging in these x values that they gave us in the table. If you weren't here on Friday, you definitely want to pay attention to this because you're going to be doing the same thing today. Could I get everybody's attention up on the screen, please? Please, please. Especially if you weren't here on Friday, okay? All right, so they gave us all these x values in the table, and one by one, we put these numbers into the equation, kind of like we did in our warm-up today, and we simplified it. And it took a few steps, but when we put in -6, we ended up getting -77. And then we put in -5, and we did some work, and we ended up getting -60. And it took us a while, and we realized very quickly that it was going to take us a long time to fill out that whole table if we did it one by one. So what we did then is I split you guys up. Do you guys remember that? One table did -4, and another table did -3, and we divided and conquered, and we were able to come up, and I was really impressed. I don't think I've ever had a class of students get the entire table filled out with 0 mistakes. We didn't have to correct anything. You guys did an awesome job with that. So that allowed us to fill out the table. And then we took the points that we could and we graphed them. Now, we were not able to graph any of these points up here because, any of these points up here because our graph didn't go up or down high enough. My graph doesn't go down to -12 on the y. It only goes down to -10. And it certainly doesn't go down to -77. So we just skipped these ones. We graphed all the points that we could. We connected the graph with a smooth curve, and we ended up with this upside-down U-shaped thing called a parabola. And then, and this is kind of the key part of our lesson, we went through and we found the important features on the parabola. Our line of symmetry, our x-intercepts, y-intercepts, vertex, minimum, and maximum, and we labeled all of those things on the graph like this. You guys are going to do this exact same thing today. I'm going to have you do it in a group, okay? And I'm going to have you working on one of these whiteboard graphs that are scattered around the room, okay? So, the question for you is, can we pick our own groups today? Now, this is the first time that I've offered this up, and how you guys do with picking your own group will determine whether this is the last time that I offer this up. Okay, so let me tell you the rules for the groups. The maximum group size is 3. No groups bigger than 3, okay? And the minimum group size is 2, because I don't want anybody working by themselves. Some people have this amazing personality quality where they can work with anyone. They're just like, I'm a team player, I can work with whoever, and that's awesome. If you happen to have that trait, it's something that's gonna serve you very well in your further education, and especially in your career when you get out there. If you are one of those people, you're like, I can work with anybody, I don't need to put myself in a group, I'll just put myself out there for whoever. What I'm going to ask you to do is when I tell you to get up in a minute, I'm just going to ask you to come to the front of the room, come up by me, and then I'll just stick you into a group, okay? So if you're very flexible and you're like, I don't care, I'll work with whoever. Again, that's a wonderful personality trait. Come up to the front of the room. I'll put you in a group. You might be in with some people that you don't know, some new people, but that's cool because you've got that flexible personality. If you know who you're going to work with, once you figure that out, then I want you to go with your team. Please take your packet with you so you've got these notes as an example. And I'd like you to find one of the empty boards over there. Now, if you need to move some furniture around, like if you guys are using this one, I want you to pull the tables away so that everybody can stand around the graph, right? If you all need to move those bookcases to be able to get to your graphs, that's fine. And then I will get you materials and an equation for you to get started on. Now I do have 3 levels of spice for the equation. I got mild, medium, and spicy. Okay, 1 star, 2 stars, or 3 stars. So when I come around to your group to get you your materials, you're going to have to decide what level of spice you're going to want. You're also going to need some markers. I've got green and purple if you want to take one of each so you can be super colorful. Feel free to do that. If you're looking for other colors, I think I might have blue over here too. Yeah, I'll put all these out. If any of these whiteboard markers are dead, if they're not working anymore, please put them in the trash can. Don't put them back in these boxes if they're not working. And then you're going to leave it up when you're done. This is important. Don't miss this, okay? When you finish with your table, would you please call me over to check your table before you graph it? I don't want you wasting your time doing all this work if there's mistakes here. So I will quickly check your table before you graph it because this is a lot of work and it relies on you having correct numbers for this. It'll just take me a minute to do that. Does anybody have any questions about what we're doing? When you and your group are finished, you're going to call me over. I'll check over everything, make sure it's all labeled. Make sure that on your little whiteboard that you guys are writing down the words, the vocabulary words, line of symmetry, x-intercept, y-intercept, so on and so forth. And then also labeling them on your graph. So on your whole board, you're going to have your table, your graph, and all of this stuff is going to be on the wall. You do not have to transfer it over to your packet if you don't want to. But if you would like to have a copy of it for your notes, you're welcome to do that. But you do not have to. I just want it on the wall, and we're going to leave them there. All right. Questions, comments, concerns? All right. 1, 2, 3, go. Go get with the group, or come see me if you're willing to be flexible.